Want to get a peek at all the little choices and strategic discussions that go into creating and launching a successful podcast? You're in the right place, because Podetize co-founders Tracy Hazzard and Tom Hazzard have launched and hosted 6 shows of their own and advised 600 other podcasters on setting up their show for success. Drop in behind the scenes while they design their latest show, The Next Little Thing.
Hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Next Little Thing. Today we're going to discuss another important decision we need to make on our journey to launching this new podcast. And what is that today, Tracy?
Are we going to do video or just straight audio? So are we going to treat it like an audio podcast, which, podcasts are audio. Like there are people out there who confuse that and think that they're really video. They're not. Those are video casts, right? Video streaming. It's like a totally different thing, right? But are we going to do video and audio? That's the question here.
This, I think, comes down to 2 main factors. I don't know what you were thinking, Trace, but I think it's 2 main factors. One of them is a personal decision because of how much preparation you need to do video. And is that something I, as an individual, or since we're co-hosts, the 2 of us as co-hosts want to do?
Yeah. Like, do I want to have my hair done?
Right. Do you need to worry about your makeup, your eyelashes, whatever? I mean, I personally don't have that problem.
Right.
But I know for a lot of women, that we work with, that's a big consideration. It's also the background of your environment. I mean, your video is actually showing, your office, Tracy, and, you've propped it to look professional and represent you how you want to be represented. I have a green screen and use different backgrounds depending on what podcast I'm recording or what type of meeting I'm having. So those are both very controlled visual experiences. But if you are not interested in dealing with the complexities of either setting up your office in a certain way so it's presentable all the time and making sure it continues to be that way, because you don't want to put out a random, visual representation of you or an unprofessional one. Some people just don't want to hassle with it. And Tracy, if this were 7 years ago when you and I were starting our first podcast, well, actually, I guess in reality, we did make the decision to do video, and then we quickly changed that after about 5 episodes with how complex it was for us, didn't we?
Right. But video 7 years ago was different. It wasn't as common that people were live streaming. It wasn't as casual. You had to do a more pro video. We were trying to do green screens and have someone edit it and drop in backgrounds. And it was way more complex, and Zoom didn't exist, and Zoom didn't have, we didn't have virtual backgrounds everywhere. Yeah. Right. So this just was so much harder back then. But, the reality is out of our Podetize clients, there's a good 40 to 50%, somewhere right in there, 45, 46% that are doing video. It's becoming really common. And the reality is when we're looking at promoting a show and doing the social media versions of it, the video versions of it, the memes, we call them, right? The little short 30 seconds ones, the things we put on TikTok, the things we put on Instagram, Instagram TV, Instagram stories, even all of that does better with video. And so not having a video option makes it actually really hard to get enough listeners to your podcast at the end of the day when you're promoting your show. So by having video built in and just automatically making that decision for us, which we are going to make that decision, right? You and I have gotten really comfortable with all our shows of doing video lately. So because of that, we're just making that decision to do video. But I also think there's a reason, Tom, and that's why I wanted to point it out today. There's a really good reason why we should do it, right? We're going to talk about products on our show. We're going to talk about something that we're going to highlight and share with the world, and showing them becomes important.
Yeah. So I think, certainly times are different now than they were 7 years ago. And times are let me say, situations are different for different people, different shows, different intents, different, criteria that everybody has. So I think everybody needs to evaluate this decision for themselves. It's certainly a lot easier to start a podcast that's audio only. You don't have to worry about how you look. I mean, we used to record episodes in our pajamas late at night after our kids went to sleep, right? That's the advantage of doing a podcast and not a video cast. But for our purposes, yes, we've gotten very used to video. It's no big deal for us. We're already, from a tech perspective, set up for it. And there's so many advantages, like you were saying, Tracy, for social media promotion that makes sense. And so for us, I think this is an easy decision, don't you think?
It is. And then the last part about the decision that I just want to make everybody aware of is that, of course, because we made the website decision, right? We want to drive traffic to our website. So it's really great to be able to talk about things that we're showing on our podcast, but they can't see it, and remind them to come to the website to take a look at the video, take a look at the images, take a look at the things we've captured for them visually by sending them back to the website. We don't send them to YouTube, we embed the YouTube. And so they get all of that right on the website. So you're creating this engagement and attraction piece that is sending people back to your website, of which now you can connect with your listeners, because you can't connect with your listeners. Apple owns them, Spotify owns them, you know nothing about them. So having a reason to get them to come to your website is powerful, and video can do that.
All right. Well, so for us, decision made.
Decision made. Absolutely. So if you want to check out what we're doing, you want to check out what our videos look like, you can go to podetize.com, check out Behind the Next Little Thing. You can also go to the Next Little Thing pod and see exactly what they're looking like.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back with another decision next time on Behind the Next Little Thing.
Want to get even more insider tips, tools, and tactics to create and grow your podcast? Make sure to check out Tracy and Tom Hazzard's other shows about podcasting. Subscribe to Feed Your Brand podcast and the Binge Factor podcast on your favorite listening app, or go to podetize.com and let the pros help guide you to an even more successful show.